So it is midnight, July 22nd, the first day of the reading rush. Not the booktubeathon, but I want to kick things off on a good note, or just a great note maybe, I don't know. Basically, I stay up way too late anyway, so I'm gonna try to read these two graphic novels. Well, one's a comic, but it's all together, so it's like a graphic novel, graphic comic. First is Sex Criminals, Volume 1 by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. And the second is The Mental Load, a feminist comic by Emma. Don't know what these are about. I think sex criminals, they like freeze time when they're having sex and then they commit crime. And this one is obviously feminism. I don't know. I'll talk about more what they're about when I've actually read them.
What'd you tell the mayor?
I don't wanna be you anymore.
And getting cold.
So it is now 4 a.m. Cue the Bastille song.
4 in the morning we find ourselves here.
My reading for tonight, I finished Sex Criminals Volume 1 and I am over halfway through The Mental Load. Sex Criminals, I really enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It's not like mind-blowing and the plot at times can be a little confusing because things jump around a lot, but it's really funny, and the way that the authors just kind of play around with everything. Like there's this one part where they wanted to use the Bohemian Rhapsody lyrics but they couldn't like figure it out in time, so they just put like post-it notes over where the lyrics would have been. There's another scene where they're like, she's learning about sex for the first time, but there's all these like weird, funny, gross sex positions that she learns about. It was just a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm in love with the art style, particularly how they draw the girl. Like sometimes she just looks kind of like creepy and almost like robotic, and I'm just like, but yeah, and my description was pretty right. It is about these two people who, when they orgasm, time stops. And so this is about them meeting, and they had only ever thought it was themselves that could do this. And then they find each other in the book, the novel, the graphic novel goes from there. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where it goes because you don't get a whole lot in this one. I would say it's a lot of setup for what is going to be the rest of the series, but yeah, it's just a lot of fun. There's so much going on in every scene, like little details. I would recommend checking this out if you haven't already. Then there's The Mental Load, which is indeed a feminist comic. I'm enjoying it so far. I would say that there are some parts that it just talks about feminism in a way that I already know about. So it's not necessarily bad, but there's parts where I'm just like, yes, I know this already, and is this going to be picked up by the people that need to read it? That kind of thing. But there are also little stories in here that kind of make me go like, yes. And so that's kind of how the book is like set up as well. It's just little different stories of bits and pieces of life, and it's kind of intersectional so far, a little bit. It talks about a lot of interesting things. The mental load being like the mental load that women take on in particular, where they think of things and men just tend not to. One really particularly interesting story I found was kind of made up world where wearing bras was illegal, so it kind of just plays on the ridiculousness of how women are forced into bras and like doing the opposite. So yeah, it's pretty good so far. I'm so sleepy I can barely keep my eyes open. I'm going to bed. So it is 7:30 p.m. I started my day with doing some captioning work, got a pizza, and now I just finally had the time to sit down and focus on reading. So I just finished The Mental Load. This was pretty good. I'm giving it 4 stars. There were parts of it that were kind of basic feminist theory, I would say. However, there were other parts of this that were really informative, like talking about like the vagina and like different like birth stuff. It was basically, the whole comic just has different segments regarding to mostly feminist things, but some others are just, that's Whitney on FaceTime if you hear that. Others are just in political nature. So it has some intersectional not a whole lot, I would say. I also forgot to mention that this is actually a translated comic, and so the author is actually French and she's from France. So I think some of the political ongoings might not have fully grasped with me, I guess. I don't know. And I guess the intersectionality part would also depend on the political climate in France and whatnot. But yeah. just thought I should mention that because my dumb self forgot to when I was actually talking about it. Okay, back to the video. But if you enjoy talks about feminism or you want to learn more about it, I think this is a good little comic. It's very just basic in its drawings and everything, but it does have some good information. I would recommend. I think now I'm going to hop into my first actual novel, Devouring Gray. I will update when I've read a little bit and know what it's actually about enough to give an explanation. Hello everyone. So I am getting ready to go see The Lion King. I'm so excited, even though I've heard mixed things, because The Lion King is my all-time favorite Disney movie. It was like my childhood because it came out in 1994, which is when I was born. My mom used to tell me that when I was like 2, I learned how to work the VCR. Oh my god, that's tragic. So that I could just play it again and again and again. I still have my baby Simba that I've had for like 25 years, I guess. And yes, I'm bringing him to the movie. After that, I'm hopefully going to the library and maybe Target, so a bit of a packed schedule for me. But last night I did start The Devouring Gray, so I thought I would talk about it a little bit. I'm only on page like 80, and I gotta admit, I'm not loving it. Where I left off, it was getting a little better. I think I'm on like part 2 now, but the beginning was just not really hooking me. I'm putting on minimum makeup right now because I know my ass is gonna cry when Mufasa dies. I really don't even know how to describe this book. Basically, in this small ass town in, I don't know if they mentioned this date, I can't remember. There's this creature called the Gray, and there's these 4 founding families who have powers that are able to not defeat it, but like protect their town. But we learn right away the one family who's like in power right now, the new kid that's supposed to protect everyone, does not have any powers. And so, oh my god, what did I just do? And so they're kind of keeping it a secret right now. So this Gray thing has been like out of control because the kid doesn't have powers. And this one family, oh my god, this bro looks so bad, holy shit. And this one family had been like not there or not active, but now they moved back, so things are going on with that. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Like basically the town is protected by these 4 families from this monster called the Devouring Gray, which is like this wood gray creature thing that no one knows what it looks like, and it kills people. That's really all I can say right now because that's all I have really gathered. I don't quite know where this is going. Yeah, something about the writing for me is just not gripping my attention. It does that thing where it uses the characters' full names, like first and last name, so often, and that's one of the things that is so small but I absolutely hate in books. Like, oh, it's a gripe. Because it's just like no one in real life uses like first and last names. Also, one of the family's last names is Hawthorne, so I'm triggered. But yeah, I don't love it. I don't hate it. We'll see how it goes. I think it's kind of picking up. I'm home, I'm red, I'm hot. Typical. The Lion King was pretty good. Obviously it doesn't top the original, which love of my life. I think some of the scenes really worked in this one visually, like especially the fight between Simba and Scar at the end. Impeccable. Some scenes were a little weird just because, you know, they're normal looking lions, but they're singing. They can't really make the facial expressions that you get in an animated one. But my biggest gripe, Scar. I don't know who plays him. He did an okay job, but you just can't top Jeremy Irons. Nobody can play Scar like Jeremy Irons does. Like the way he talked, everything about it. And my biggest gripe, Be Prepared, which I feel is the best Disney villain song. They tarnished it. Like it didn't even feel like a song. I was so disappointed. When I knew it was coming up, I was like, oh, here we go, Be Prepared. But no, it was horrible. So that part really brought it down, but everything else I enjoyed. Beyonce, obviously. So after the movie, I went to the library and Target, which has a Starbucks in it, so naturally. I'm just gonna quickly show what I picked up at the library because a lot of these I don't really know what to say about them. Like I'll talk about what they're about when I'm actually reading them. But I got the first 2 volumes in a manga called The Girl from the Other Side. I've never read a manga before, so this is gonna be interesting. But Whitney read this and really loves it, so you know I trust her blindly. Then I picked up Sweet Filthy Boy by Christina Lauren. Absolutely love Christina Lauren. I've read 3 of their books now. This is one of, I guess, their older ones, you could say. So I'm interested to see how I will like this. Then I got volumes 2 through 5, I think it is, of Sex Criminals. Obviously, I already told you what that one's about because I read the first one in this vlog. And last but certainly not least is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I didn't have any interest in this until Whitney read it, and she's just raving about it. She's like, everything's perfect, the best book of the year. So obviously I was interested. Don't know what it's about. She kind of told me, but I forgot. this might end up making an appearance in my TBR this week just because she's been raving about it so much and I want to know what the buzz is. So yeah, now I'm going to hopefully get to reading The Devouring Grey. Morning, folks. Just kidding, it's 7:30 p.m. I just finished my captioning work for the day, so I'm going to be jumping back into The Devouring Grey. I got to page 236 last night. I'm very conflicted with this book because there's just a lot of small gripes that I have with the writing style that overall is hindering my enjoyment. Sometimes I've noticed that I'll be like, hey, this is actually good, I'm enjoying this, but then it'll just switch and do something that I don't like and I'm like, ugh. In particular, I just feel like when she's writing Justin's perspective, this is all in third person, but like when we're talking about him and focusing on him, the writing is just extra not my thing. Something about it just comes off very forced. I feel like this really tells more than it shows. I'm supposed to feel a certain way about each character because they're put into this kind of typecast instead of just seeing them as their personalities. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah, I am, you know, intrigued to see what's gonna happen. But yeah, this just isn't clicking with me as I've seen it clicked with other people, unfortunately. Maybe the ending will change it, but as of right now, not loving it. It's just okay. Can you pretend like you didn't for a minute so I can get my B-roll? Okay, thank you. So it is now 1 a.m., but I just finished The Devouring Grey. I don't know if you can hear my phone, I turned it down a lot, but they're trying to ruin my clip. The end of this was honestly a lot better than the majority of the book, like the entire book. I think the action scenes were really well written, at least in the sense that like I was really captivated by them, rather than the scenes of like the characters having internal monologue or just interacting in any way. It's not that I didn't like the characters, it's that I don't like how they were written. They really just felt like typecast. A lot of the writing with them kind of felt like in a storybook where it's just like, oh, she felt this or she felt that. Or like, you know how scripts will have just lines for the actors to interpret, like, she felt this emotion, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how this writing felt. It felt very stunted to me. I think it probably would have been better if it was written in first person instead of third person, because then we could have had more connection to the characters. But I did enjoy the ending, and I'll probably read the sequel because I do want to know what's going to happen. A lot of things at the end that were revealed was really interesting. The plot was pretty cool. So with all that, I think I'm going to give this 3 stars because the writing wasn't a fan, but the actual plot of the book was interesting. I think I'm going to read the Tea Dragon Festival next, and I should be able to crank that out tonight because I don't sleep like a normal person. So some time has passed, aka it's like 4 a.m.
4 in the morning.
I finished the Tea Dragon Festival a good minute ago, but I was on FaceTime with Whitney and John Paul for a while afterwards. So. And I absolutely adored this. I liked this even more than the first book, which is the Tea Dragon Society, which sort of introduces tea dragons and what that's all about. This is actually more of a, I think, companion than a sequel, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, it actually takes place before the events of the Tea Dragon Society, and it's just really sweet. These are children's graphic novels, but they're so beautifully drawn, and the message is just, you know, some good heartwarming stuff. This one takes place in this village where they have a Tea Dragon Festival, and this character named Rin is out scavenging and comes across this sleeping dragon, like a full-on dragon, not a tea dragon, and it goes from there, and it's so sweet. It's about belonging, and I don't even know, it was just so cute, and I love the way that Katie O'Neill, yes, just really weaves in message of inclusivity in just such simple ways. Like Rin, I believe is gender non-conforming, and they're just so well done. If you just want a heartwarming, cute graphic novel, I would recommend these two. I think the Tea Dragon Society was a little, I don't remember if it was confusing, but there was just something about it that didn't fully click for me. But the Tea Dragon Festival I felt was much more clear, and its story arc was very present, and I just had no complaints. So while I gave the Tea Dragon Society 4 stars, I'm giving this a full 5 stars. Now I'm going to go to bed soon.
The next day.
I don't think I've updated today. It's 10:30 at night, obviously. The only thing I did today was go to the post office, and then I did some captioning, my usual. That's basically my day. Not the post office, but captioning. And now I've started Sorcery of Thorns. I'm on page 54. It's pretty good so far. Definitely getting a lot of Harry Potter vibes. I'm on FaceTime with Whitney because we're reading together, but she went to go take a nice shit. Technically, I should be reading Prince Caspian because that was my book to movie challenge, but I just really want to read this book because Whitney has been saying so many good things about it. But yeah, that's the update. I was hoping that one of the cats would come by so I could show some cuteness, but they haven't. Hello, Bikini Bottom. It is Friday night and I haven't read anything today. I have been dealing with a horrible tooth pain, and along with that, like, it makes the entire side of my head in pain, so it's been really hard to want to read or do anything. I'm actually feeling, cross my fingers, knock on this fake wood, a little better right now, so I hope it stays that way. Last night I got to page 135 of Sorcery of Thorns. I don't believe I said what this is about. I don't know what the lighting is right now. Ugh. But essentially, this is a fantasy novel. It follows a girl named Elizabeth, and she's in this world where they have grimoires that are like alive. Like, they can, some of them can talk, they can like do different things. They're basically, the books are alive, and these books are the books that sorcerers use. Elizabeth is not a sorcerer. She's training to be like a librarian, guardian, warden thing of these books, and she has always believed that sorcery is bad because in order to be a sorcerer and use magic, you have to tap into what they call the other world and basically bargain with demons. And so we follow her in the beginning of the book. Some shit goes down. She ends up having to go with this sorcerer to, I don't remember what it was called, but she has to go somewhere because, as always in books, things get wild. And it's really good so far. I really like the writing. It's very descriptive, and it definitely, especially in the beginning, gives you some kind of like Harry Potter feelings, except it's set in, I don't know, the past. But yeah, it's just really immersive so far. I feel like there's a lot that has not yet been revealed as to where this is going exactly. I don't know if I like the writing so much just because I hated the writing so much in The Devouring Grey that I'm like, this is just so much better. I don't know if I'll pick this up tonight or not. I might pick up some of the Sex Criminal volumes that I have from the library over there. But first, my mom's birthday is tomorrow and I am making her cake. She wants a coconut lemon custard cake. I've never made this before, so I hope it tastes good. I won't know because I don't like coconut, so I won't be eating it. Tired and I look like a drowned rat, so happy day 6. So day 5 was pretty much a big old flop because I either had a pounding, make me want to cry headache from my tooth pain, or I was making my mom's cake, which I got some footage of. I didn't show the final product. Maybe I will include that at some point, but it's a very ugly cake, so perhaps not.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! The only reading that I did was getting like halfway through a volume of Sex Criminal. So today and tomorrow, the last days of the readathon, this is time to play a little catch up. I didn't read any more of Sorcery of Thorns yesterday, and I think I'm actually gonna set this one aside until the readathon is over, or until I get through the books that I just want to get through, because I really want to take my time with this and I don't want to like feel like I have to rush. And also with my headache, it's just not gonna be a good look. So I think I'm going to go back to my original TBR and pick up Prince Caspian today because it's decently short. It's a children's book, but I should be able to get through this relatively fast. And then I also want to get through, obviously, finish this volume of Sex Criminals, then probably pick up another volume because I don't see myself reading any actual books until I feel better. But I know one of the badges you can get is participating in one of like the Instagram challenges, and I have not done that, so I thought let's do today's. The challenge is to take a photo of a stack of books that take place in a country that is different from your own. Bonus points if it's not the US or UK. I'm gonna be real, y'all, I don't have a lot of books set in other countries. We can do Beartown because this takes place in Canada. Australia, right? This is an Australian novel. Although like we cannot see my historical fiction, it's gonna be like the thing that saves me. I can't remember where this takes place. Is it Paris? Yes, Paris. Emile and Carl. This is also historical fiction. I think this is in Germany. Vienna. Vienna's Germany, right? Either way, it's not the US. The Nightingale. I believe this also takes place in Paris. I should have just grabbed my entire historical fiction. Let's be real. Oh, it's not focusing. Focus. Okay. Barrow Rights takes place in Iceland. This is the Song of Achilles, which takes place, I mean, it's historical fiction, but like, I mean, it's not the US. It's like Greece, right? I'm gonna count it. Book Thief. This takes place in Germany, right? Okay, so literally like my entire historical fiction shelf. I wish I had a copy of The Kite Runner because I have read that book and it's amazing, but I don't have a copy of it, so that's just wonderful. Okay, I'm looking at the rest of my shelves and I don't think, oh, Stolen by Lucy Christopher. That's Australia. This is a stack. Time to make it look pretty. Okay, yeah, there we go. Cue, oh, excuse me, the time lapse. I think I actually like this one that I got. Woohoo! Hello again, friends. So it is much later now. It's 11:30. Today has been just kind of a weird day, but I finished Prince Caspian. If you don't know, this is the 4th book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. I say that questioningly because I know there's different orders. I think publication order differs from what is presented as the typical reading order. But yeah, if you don't know, this takes place in Narnia. If you don't know what the Chronicles of Narnia are about, then I don't know where you've been living. But it's not the first book in the series in reading order, but I think it's where people start, and I think it's the first one that was published. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, about these 4 siblings who stumble into this wardrobe and find a whole different world. I enjoyed this one because it went back to the Narnia that we know, and we got to see Susan, Lucy, Peter, and Edmund again. The previous book for me was The Horse and His Boy, and I just remember not enjoying that one. I can't even remember anything about it now. But this was good. It was nice to get back to these characters, and I enjoyed the story of Prince Caspian himself as well. Although this is a very short book, it's like 222 pages. I will say that there were parts of it that still kind of dragged, or that just weren't as exciting, or I don't know, mind capturing. So it wasn't like perfect. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Now I'm going to relax and watch the movie so I can check off that book to movie adaptation.
Son? It's Aslan! It's Aslan over there! Don't you see? He's right.
So it is 4:30 on the last day of the reading rush. I woke up 30 minutes ago. But anyway, last night I did watch the Prince Caspian movie. It was pretty good. I, forgot how attractive every single actor in that movie is. There was definitely some changes from the book to the movie, but I think they actually fixed some of the problems that I had with the book, like where it got kind of like laggy and stuff. They added extra action scenes and I was like, okay. Now the only challenge I have left to complete is read 7 books, which was a bonus challenge anyway, but I'm gonna get all the challenges. Also, I counted having the, oh my god, my hair. Having the read-in challenge counted. I didn't go to a read-in. I didn't even realize that there was like official ones. And then I guess they had a virtual one yesterday, though I found out after it happened. But I had already counted the challenge because I was reading with Jean-Paul and Whitney. I think I probably have a shot of it somewhere previously in this vlog. And so I was like, yeah, that's a good read-in. Now that I've like read up on them, I didn't know there was like official stuff. I thought it was just like read with people. So now I don't know if that would be counted. I'm still counting it because if we were reading. Anyway, the only challenge I have left to complete is read 7 books. I so far have completed 5. I'm already halfway into Sex Criminals Volume 2, so that will be super fast. And then Sex Criminals Volume 3 will be my 7th book. Super fun, super easy. I'll update again when I finish them.
3 days later.
Hey, so it's Tuesday evening now. Why did I take so long to film my last clip for this vlog? I don't know. I think the last thing I talked about was that I was going to read these 2 graphic novels to finish up my reading rush, and I did it. I think I'm gonna give this one 3.5 because the story just seemed a little all over the place and it went in a direction that wasn't super well introduced in my opinion, but it was still fun. It was, you know, interesting. This volume I think I will give 4 stars though, because I liked some of the introductions that we had and I think it's expanding the world better than the second one did, and it was just more comprehensive as a whole. Let's move to my computer so that I can give you some final reading rush status updates. Or not status, stats. I don't know how to talk. I actually need to update my page count for the last day because in addition to reading those graphic novels, I read about 20 more pages of A Sorcery of Thorns. I read a total of 1,567 pages, completed 7 books, which were these. Day 1 definitely had the most pages read because I think I read like 2 graphic novels plus a bunch of the Devouring Grey. And for the badges, I think I did them all, right? Because I did, I'm a reader, I completed all the challenges. So to read a book with purple on the cover, that was the Devouring Grey / the Tea Dragon Society, had a little bit on it. A book read in the same spot the whole time is literally all of them. Read a book with over 5 words in the title. I think every Sex Criminals volume had over 5 words in the title. Read a 5-star book, that was the Tea Dragon Society. Read a book you meant to read last year, Prince Caspian. Read a book with a non-human main character, the Tea Dragon Society. Read 7 books, as we saw. Read an author's first book, which was The Devouring Grey. Read over 1,000 pages, did that. Read and watch a movie book to adaptation, Prince Caspian. Make a Reading Rush booktube video. I made a TBR and I'm making this vlog, so I think that counts. Posted a Reading Rush bookstagram, yep, did that. Participated in a Twitter sprint, yes, I did. Go to a read-in, I counted as having it because I read with friends. We read on FaceTime. So that was my first ever reading rush, which is technically just the whatever year the booktube was on. So that wraps up this vlog. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know how your reading rush went if you participated, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I look like Peppa Pig today.